in today's competitive environment, developing strong leadership within the organizational system is very crucial. For employers, they require employees who be able to develop certain kind of leadership potential, who be able to identify certain complex challenges and also drive organizational growth. For employees, on the other hand, they are looking at clear pathways towards their professional development. And so here we have a situation where leadership becomes a win-win situation for both the employee and the employer. I'm very happy to be discussing with two gentlemen today on the topic nurturing exceptional leaders at the workplace. And I'll let them introduce themselves. I'll go with you, Sly.
Yeah, I think I'm an old face here, so hopefully everyone should know me. But in case people are watching for the first time, I'm Sylvester, working here at the Grace Life Leadership Center as Director for Core Programs and Strategic Communication. I also work as a freelance business and language consultant in the Africa-China space. Yeah, basically that's it about me.
All right. Yeah, welcome, Sly.
Yeah, thank you once again, Dio.
Okay, and we have a new person on our show today. His name is Solomon, but I will not take the introduction myself. I will allow him to introduce himself. Yes,
Hello,
Solomon.
Diana. Thank you very much. My name is Solomon Aidan, and basically, someone who has a simple mission to help 1 million startups in Africa here. And aside that, I'm a certified business coach, and also I love to share knowledge on financial wellness and also side hustle. And most importantly, I am an accountant by profession and also a teacher by nature. So thank you. I'm really happy to be here, and I hope to enjoy this conversation.
Well, yeah, I think you're the right man for the job. You wear so many hats. How does it feel? Heavy, light?
It's very heavy.
It's very, very heavy. I can imagine. That's so much. Accountant, consultant, and wow. Okay.
I'm interested in the 100 million startup part of it. Is it a
Yes.
project you're running, Solomon?
Very ambitious.
I start with business bites.
Okay.
At this moment, we are looking at the visibility, where we preach for people to know what is going on. Then we enroll the first phase of the big project.
Okay, so it's not started yet.
Oh, we are still running.
Okay.
Currently, we run as a capacity building. Let's say a hub.
Okay, all right.
So we invite experts. Diana has spoken on my show.
Yeah. So what's the name of the project? Maybe we can follow you guys on LinkedIn.
Okay, so Business Bites. When you Google Business Bites, you see
Business
on
Bites.
LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay.
Bites.
Bites.
Yes.
Business Bites.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So currently, we are working on one session which will come off 29th June.
Okay.
That will be Saturday, 6:30 p.m. GMT.
Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Please
Business
do
Bites.
well to subscribe and then listen.
Okay.
And so I wanted to talk about leadership development programs. So you are fortunate you have a small consulting firm going on for yourself. You are also an employee. So let's hear from you. In terms of leadership development programs in the organizations, based on where you've worked and your experiences and what people have told you, do you think that there are enough leadership development programs in place at the offices, or they are leaving leadership for other people to take care of?
All right. Thank you very much. This question is very loaded.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I think that before we can draw in leadership, we must first of all understand where we find ourselves. Okay, so in Ghana per se, we are emerging market, and with emerging markets, there are weak institutions, and there are so many things that are not in shape to help businesses. Okay, so in Ghana here we have like informal sector and then the formal sector. Even in the formal sector, we have ones that are structured and the ones that are not structured. So if you want to look at leadership in terms of the organization coming up with programs to help develop their own people as maybe a way of succession plan, I think there's a big gap in Ghana here. For instance, companies are struggling, okay? If your turnover is low, you are even thinking about how to pay your employees. So how much more thinking about developing their capacity through leadership?
Yes.
Okay, when you go to, let's say, let me pick the informal sector. Maybe my mother or my sister who is at, let's say, the Makwala market or something.
Yes.
Those people, they don't go for.
Just for those who don't know what Makola market is in Ghana, it's one of the biggest consumer markets maybe here in Ghana, Accra. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So that person, their focus is towards sell every day. They are not interested in going for leadership programs to develop themselves. But I believe that sometimes you see these people forming unions, and then they look at someone whose life is maybe in shape and can man the actions for them, and then they give the person a chance to, be the leader of that place. So their own is more or less about someone they can trust, someone who is, going to avail him or herself when they need him. That's where they pick their leadership from. But let's come to the formal sector. You see, let me pick the unstructured one. With unstructured organization, normally it is very difficult for them to have a training programs for their personnel. Why? Because sometimes they see it that it's like a cost burden. Some too are afraid. If I develop this person and all of a sudden this person moves out of my organization, what am I going to do? So it's like it is an onus on the employee to develop himself. If you are working in an organization which is formal but unstructured, because when you go to your boss, give me money to do this is very difficult. Me, the first time I told my company to pay for a training, I
Yes.
have to explain the purpose of the training, how the training will help my firm
Yes.
before I was even given the opportunity to go for that training.
Wow.
And this year I decided to put it in our budget that at least we should organize some training. Even that amount to, I was called back to
To
slash
explain.
that amount.
Hey, wow.
So the issue is that they are not, let me say, in terms of revenue strength, they are not good there. So when you are bringing anything of that sort, it's like there's this kind of resistance because it will
Yes.
drain
Yes.
their resources. But when you go to the structured organization, it's like a policy there that every 3 months or maybe every 2 months, this department will have in-service training.
Yes.
So with that one, it is something that has been budgeted for, and the moment the time gets to, they just release the resources, they go, and then these people will do reports to show how the whole process went as a way of them reflecting what they learned. So when these things are being put in place, it helps the individual to grow. Maybe you did procurement. Maybe during your time, they didn't get opportunity to go through the procurement laws. They
Yes.
take you through procurement training. You understand the laws. You understand what, as a public entity, you're supposed to do. Maybe as a private entity, maybe you are not bound by the procurement law, but you can design your own procurement policy. So that one, it helps you to grow. So if maybe in the next 5 years, they are looking out for someone who can become the head of procurement. Because you are going through this training here and there, you are developing yourself, you also understand your organization. So the moment a key employee leaves out of the business, they have someone internally to fill.
Yes.
But when it comes to the unstructured, the moment a key person leave, they have to go and struggle, then get another person who will
Yes.
come in and then replace him. That person will also learn the business. After the person understands the business and you work, and then he sees that the company is not in for their development. When they get a little experience, they move. So I think that is something big that businesses should look at least. If you don't want to pay for them to go, at least search for programs that are free. I know that there are free programs around. Give
Yes.
them the opportunity. Okay, I've given you 3 or 4 days off. Go and study. Me, I took a leave, I think, latter part of last month.
Okay.
And then it wasn't, what do you call,
To rest.
to rest. I was moving from my new place, so my old place to the new place.
Okay.
And then the same period, I supposed to attend this training. So I have to sacrifice myself to attend this program. And it was free programs organized by GIZ about
Wow.
mediation. So at
Wow.
the end of the day, I've gone through this program. I'm now a certified mediator. You get the point.
Wow.
But it's not my organization that even
Yeah.
introduced the program to me. I have to go and then find it myself and develop myself. So that's the little I can contribute. I think my
Wow.
brother has something to say.
Yes, yes. So, Sly, I want you to look at it. Let's look at it from the angle of the employer. So, Solomon mentioned something about the struggle with money because as a business, you are trying to get your revenues up.
Right.
So even if you don't have the money, why bother about capacity development or even
Right.
spending money there? And he talked about even in instances where they would do it, they tend to slash the amount.
Right.
So what do you think? What ought to be done? How should like employers tackle leadership development programs with maybe if they are running on a very tight budget? What are some of the options to look at?
Yeah, yeah, and I think I agree to a large extent with what Solomon, said just now. These are real issues happening, and let me just first of all even say that here on this platform we've underscored the need for all to come on board to help with leadership development, right? We've touched on the role of education, the role of civil society organizations, and all of that. And so, indeed, it's very important for the corporate world to also contribute to raising the type of leaders that especially Africa yearns for. So that being said, I think there are a lot of things that companies can do even though they have tight budgets. It shouldn't take too much to develop the leadership capacity of people, right? These things could be internally arranged, right? So let's say company A is trying to build capacity of their workers. You don't necessarily have to invite someone from outside or let them even attend programs outside the company. You could get people internally to take them through courses, how to deliver on task, right? How to delegate task, how to manage crisis during in a company setting and on those kind of things. We have resource people internally. So I believe that it shouldn't always be about the money. It should be about the intention of the company. It should be
Yes.
about the consciousness of the company that,
Yes.
look, we have a role to play in building the type of leaders that our company. In fact, so this is how I want them to see it. It's a national role.
Yes.
They shouldn't just look at it from that perspective where Solomon mentioned something, okay, if we train them and they leave, what happens?
Yes.
If they leave, and fortunately they are still within Africa, they are still going to contribute to the socio-economic development of Africa.
Okay.
So you are training these guys not just for yourself, but for the continent, for our country, because we have all said that we have a role to play in raising the type of leaders we need, right? So take, for instance, the CEO of Vodafone, Madam, I've forgotten the name, the current
Patricia.
Patricia, right? The current vice chancellor of the University of Ghana, and all the people who hold leadership positions in these organizations. If you take their CVs, you realize that they've had working experience in different organizations.
Yes.
You ask them how they're able to manage their current roles, and they will tell you that it's as a result of years of compilation of experiences from company A, company B, company C, right? And so you ask yourself, okay, how about if they didn't get these experiences? How will they cope with their current business or roles, right? Professor Bamfo of UG, I always use it as an example, right? Which experience is she leveraging on to lead the University of Ghana right now, right? So I think companies and corporates, but they should look at it from that national assignment point of view and not just that corporate assignment, right? If that is done, I think it will help a lot of people. Once you have a company, you know that, look, if I train these guys, I'm training them not for my company, but for our country, for our
Let me
continent.
bring this from the perspective of the employer.
Yeah.
So, cost of recruitment is high.
Uh-huh.
So, assuming you bring in someone and they leave after 2 months, having maybe you as soon as they came, you took them through orientation, probably even maybe paid for them to do certain courses, and then maybe in 6 months' time they leave, or in a year they leave, and maybe your business is struggling and you require that skill. As an employer, what do you do? I mean, at that point, it's not about national agenda anymore. You are thinking about your
Yeah.
business, the survival of
Yeah.
your business.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I throw it to the two of you: when
Yeah.
an employer is finding themselves in such a situation, such hot waters, what do
Yeah.
they do?
I don't know if I can come before Solomon. Yeah, let me just yeah. So I think it's a really big challenge. It's a real problem, and I've thought about that several times. I'm not an HR practitioner, neither am I a professional, but I've been wondering how companies are able to cope with that. But I've realized that companies over the years have put in place structures like contracts.
Okay.
So they kind of sign you in for 2 years, they sign you in for 3 years, and I don't think it's bad. Life is a trade-off. If you want to benefit like this, then you should be ready to sacrifice about 2 years of your time with us, which is fair, right? So I think that is one of the things they can do. Beyond that, honestly, if you ask me, I think we need to get to a point where these companies and organizations see it as a corporate social responsibility, a national responsibility to build the capacities of these people, because we keep on saying that the African problem is a leadership problem. And at TGLC, we are saying leadership is not political leadership. Leadership is across business leaders, educational leaders, real estate leaders, right? Philanthropists, and all of that across board, right? So we need them to be trained from all over, from all angles. So honestly, one of the ways they can approach this is to put in some pragmatic measures to help themselves. If they are afraid to just train people and they will run
The
away.
contracts.
And then the second thing, I hope after this interview, bosses and CEOs of companies will begin to see leadership training, capacity building of their employees and personnel as a national assignment.
Yeah, indeed. But the contract thing, does it happen in China?
Yes, it does, because in fact, if you mention China, it's business. They are more business oriented,
Yeah.
so you shouldn't expect them to overlook some of these things. Yeah, and I think it's fair.
Okay, so no,
Yes.
I want you to put yourself like as the CEO of Business Bytes and having employed people, and then the turnover is very high, and you are pushing money into recruitment. What are you going to do?
Okay, now before I attempt this question, I want to share an experience. Okay,
Okay.
so the first time I went for an interview, Charlie, someone from the university, fresh in the system. So it was one-on-one discussion with the CEO, and then he put a question: Are you going to leave us after we have employed you? And what are your plans? Are you preparing to go to school? This, and that. Because I think when he saw my CV and other things you see, normally when employers see people who are naturally good, they are afraid because they see those people as people who are not loyal. Because small opportunity, they
They
will
will leave.
leave. So this one asked me this question, and I knew within me that I'll leave. But I told him that I'm not going to leave. So I think that is maybe a problem, okay? Because imagine setting up a business, bringing in someone, paying for all those associated costs for the person to come in, so that the person will increase your productivity,
Yes.
so that you too, as a business owner, you can create more jobs for people,
Yes.
and you also benefit from the whole arrangement. And it will be like the person comes in and a short time the
They
person
leave.
leaves. It's like let's be empathic with business owners. Me, I see that it is not good. Okay, I see it is not, though maybe my brother Sly will see it as a national assignment, but here we are talking about business. And business is about either you make money or you lose what? Money.
Money.
It's not about where we are playing that kind of chit chat. Or come in when you want to go, you leave. No. So if we want to train people in an organization, it is not bad. Okay. But the issue is that where maybe the head of the business feel that if I train these people, they are going to leave me. It's like they don't want to pump you money, because when they pump the money, they want to get return back. Okay, so if I pump you the money, you become better. And now that you need to help me to run my business effectively, you come and tell me
Yeah.
that
So sorry for the interjection. So
I'm
wouldn't
leaving.
wouldn't the contract thing help? What do you
Normally in
think?
Ghana here, when you sign up a contract, they have a probation period of either 6 months. Some institution like the government institution will say that a probation of 1 year.
Okay.
Okay, so after you've served that 1 year, Then maybe after that period, you can opt out if you
Okay.
want to leave, giving them 1 month notice. You get the point. So if as an individual, before you even sign up a contract to go and work for an organization, you must first of all, be satisfied that this organization will help me and I'm also going to help them. It's not like you are just anxious for a job, you just get a job, you enter, and then all of a sudden you want to opt out. Who does that? It's not fair. So we shouldn't also go in for our own selfish ambition. Me, I started my career at judicial service.
Okay.
Okay, so almost a year, then I had an opportunity to work with the current company. And I tell you, the stress I went through before quitting, because my father's brother was the deputy director of finance there. I spoke with him till 12 a.m., convincing me that I shouldn't go.
Wow.
Okay. Then in the morning, I had discussion with my other brothers. Some were advising me I can go. The other two was a bit conservative, but there was one who is very radical. He called me, "Hey, Solo, you have to go."
Wow.
That was when I signed a contract.
Wow.
And then I submitted to the company. So sometimes, for me personally, I don't want to treat firms bad because I know that one day I might also create my own company.
Yes.
So I must make sure that what I expect them to do for me and what I'm supposed to do for them, I do it. So normally, if I'm breaking out from organization, sometimes it's very painful for me because I make them as mine and I work it out. Whether they develop me
Or
or they
not.
don't develop me, I want to pour my heart for them. So Sly is a national agenda. We need good leaders. Both, the let's say the non-for-profit side, the profit side at the national level, good politicians. We need them. But the bottom line is how do we come up with this synergy arrangement with each other contributing? So it shouldn't be the work of only employers. It should be the work of employees. So let's say that as an employee, maybe your CEO might not be so much good to be able to know what is going on in the business environment. You are good. So you tell your CEO, this, and that is what is happening in the business environment. So we need to go for training to be able to help us become effective. So sometimes it's not about the CEO identifying them. Sometimes they are very busy. They don't even know what is going on because they are handling a lot. So you being as a good employee, you can also prompt. Then they look at one or two. Sometimes me, I prompt my CEO. If something is not going well and we need to do something, I prompt her, "Hello, madam. This, and that. When you put it in this place, it will help." She will adapt it, we work it out, and we share. So at the end of the day, I have proposed, she adapted it, we learn together, then we move on. So if you sit down waiting for your CEO to do everything for you, oh, these people, they need to be developed, I bet you'll be disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's profound. It makes me even go back to the point about when people are done with national service. I know you mentioned we should be very like empathetic with these businesses, but there are some people who want work experience after like their national service. So any job that comes, they jump at it, and then later they get inside and realize that this is not really what I want. But because they need that job experience for other roles, they are forced to like stick in the role or go through the process. But I believe what you said is profound. How you treat the organization you find yourself, and even how you work. Okay, so talking about how you treat the organization, I have a story to share. So I remember in one of the organizations that I was working for, anytime it was time for performance review, wow. Like, in fact, my very first performance review, when I came out, I couldn't believe it was my performance review that was at, because it was quite different. And the fire, I really felt the fire. But I want to ask you, are performance reviews and appraisals like opportunities for for organizations to identify like maybe employees with certain kind of leadership potentials and know where to push them, and like where they will need like extra help?
So me, this one I have a very big issues with
Okay.
Ghanaian companies. You see,
Okay.
in Ghanaian companies, I would say that only a tip of the iceberg, I mean, really adapts issues of performance review.
Okay.
Because of this power play, another thing, because you know someone at the top level, whether you work well or you don't work
Yes.
well, your promotion is being assured. You get a point.
Yes.
Unlike where the multinational companies, where they believe in the meritocracy, they
Yes.
look at the work that you are doing and then they reward you according to the work that you are doing. And one thing is that performance review is good. It helps to know whether the employee is on a good track.
Yeah.
And also, it's a means for you to also let the person know that he's really doing his or her best. Because sometimes people don't tell us whether we are doing good or not.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, it's more or less like you're always working. Nobody tells you whether you are on the right path, you are on the wrong path. And by the time you realize you can't even track your milestones, okay? In certain organization, every quarter, they will bring this performance, I mean, sheet,
Yes.
and your head of department would definitely know who is performing at the department
Yes.
and would definitely give a lot of, I mean, good appraisal to other people. And some people too, because you know, human being, if you don't do things well, it's my great
Yeah.
enemy. They should I do something slightly,
Yes.
okay? And let me share this story. When I was doing my attachment, the second place, I did it in the University of Cape Coast. So
Okay.
after my attachment, and then I gave my card to my boss too. And then the man wrote a very sweet appraisal. I didn't know because normally, I don't know, maybe it's part of me. Everywhere I want to go, like, I want to see that place as mine.
Wow.
Whether it treats me bad or not, I don't care.
That's wow.
Because
That's
I believe in this principle. One day, I might, position might change.
okay.
So if I become the owner of the business, how do I want my employees to view my business? Is it that they are coming in because they need money to maintain their life? Or they are coming in because they love the vision we are advancing and they want to be part of the whole thing? So that is what I've been living with. So I don't mind. I can work. They will tell me, okay, today things are going to be a bit tough. We are working and beyond our normal hours. I won't complain. I won't say anything. I'll sit in, I'll work. And when I close, I go home.
Wow.
So I just give off my best. But it's not everybody who can be like the way you are. So that's why I'm saying that if you are an employee, make sure that the organization that you are going in is two things. It's either you enjoy the place or you don't enjoy the place. If you go and then the place is not what you expected, the advice that I'll give you is that sometimes you don't know why you go to certain places like that. Me, I believe that if I go to a place I don't like, I try to make sure that I change something at that place.
Okay.
Maybe until maybe at a higher level, I can see that I cannot do anything again. That is when maybe if I have to opt out, I'll opt out because I know that when I went there, I tried to put
Cost change.
yeah to change something there. But some people they go there within 3 months. Oh, I knew colleagues. He got a job, let's say a year, then he got another job. Just 3 months, he's switching another job. And within that moment, cry. If he gets another job staff, he go switch.
Wow.
Then I told him that no, like what you are doing in HR, we call it high risky employees
Okay.
because they look at the number of years you have spent in the companies you are coming from. If they see that you spend 3 months here, 3 months here, 3 months here, the pattern is that if you employ you 3 months, you run away. And people really want comfort organization.
Yes.
That's one thing. There's no organization that will promise you heaven and hell. Some organization will promise you heaven and hell. So heaven. But when you get there, heaven and earth. But when you get there,
It's
it's
actually hell.
hell. So you must be someone who is able to. So the whole issue is, let me come back to you, the leadership aspect. Sometimes it's not the employer that will bring the whole idea. Sometimes you go somewhere and then you can see that there's no leadership there.
Yes.
And you being an agent of change, you should be the person to cause that change. And one thing that I normally do, if I go to any organization, I take like 2 to 3 months to study the organization, to know the loophole, and I'll start implementing my measures bit by bit. So by the time I realize a year, and then you see that organization is not like that before. Someone nearly poached me to another organization. The person's a big woman. She's
Wow.
currently working in the Bank of Ghana.
Wow.
She called me to the office and told me the coffee. She called me coffee. Um, I like the way you work. My husband's accountant is normal, and I want you to go and work with my accountant. Me, I thought she was joking, but she called me 3 times,
Wow.
and the thing became like anytime I go to her to submit something to her, then
She
she will
brings it
bring
up.
the whole issue. But because the relationship between that person and my boss was like this, I didn't want to be the Satan between them.
Yeah.
So I decided to cherish their relationship, then I forgo. But I knew that if it were to be someone, because maybe the promise there will be a very big sum of amount, they would have, oh, forget about the relationship, go for that offer, then destroy the relationship between their former boss and the friend. So that is another level of leadership. So it is two-way, not only the employer, the employee too. If you see a problem, you can act as a leader and then you solve the problem. Yeah. Thank you.
So, do you think that performance appraisal and reviews are enough